It's an app with over 1 billion active users who collectively spend a staggering 4.43 billion minutes per day browsing through videos. It's massive, with children with 80% of 16 to 17-year-olds using it. And for its makers, the app generated $16.1 billion in 2023 alone. The app is TikTok, and it represents one of the most unexpected threats that U.S. society faces today. But how can an app that allows people to share videos of lip-syncing and dancing be such a threat? To answer that question, we first need to explore the origins of TikTok and the Chinese tech giant behind the app. That giant is ByteDance. Founded by Zhang Yiming, ByteDance created a news platform in China named Toutiao, aka Headlines in English. Though that sounds pretty standard, ByteDance distinguished its new platform by using artificial intelligence in ways no other news outlet had done before. It used its complex AI algorithms to push articles to its users with no human intervention involved. The result? Headlines blew up, garnering 10 million new users in 3 months, none of whom seemed to be cotton on the fact that all of the news they were being served was curated by an algorithm focused on delivering one thing: articles that aligned with China's core values. ByteDance had created the first AI-driven propaganda machine, but it was still limited to China. Naturally, the company wanted to go global, with support from the Chinese government, and an AI-driven news app wasn't going to do the job. It needed something different, a social media platform that could challenge the major players, such as Facebook and Twitter, coming out of Silicon Valley. While being so addictive, users kept returning to get their daily hit of content. TikTok was the result of the company's efforts. On the surface, the app seemed harmless enough. Users shared short clips of them singing, dancing, and pulling pranks, with the app being pushed as a replacement for the recently shuttered Vine. But ByteDance wanted more than to be a replacement for a faded app. It wanted social media dominance, and it was willing to spend big to get it. It spent a staggering $3 million per day to make sure nobody could escape the TikTok logo. And even now, ByteDance is still spending. As recently as April 2023, the company reportedly spent $7 million on lobbyists alone to combat the potential ban. Still, marketing is far from illegal. How does a company that created a product, invested in its growth, and succeeded represent a threat to U.S. society? One of the answers lies in TikTok's monetization of addiction. The short video format TikTok adopted was no accident. ByteDance knew that by keeping the videos short, essentially borrowing the advertising concepts companies have used for decades, would make user-shared content easy to access and digest. Throw in the sheer variety of content that comes from having over 1 billion people making videos, a rapid scrolling design, and the potential for monetary rewards for creating, and you have a recipe for the constant dopamine hits that fuel addiction. And it's worked. As Statista reports, 77.7% of Gen Z TikTok users, the platform's main audience, believe the app is addictive. Those results are almost mirrored by Millennial and Gen X users, 73.5% and 71.7% respectively, say they recognize TikTok's addictive qualities. Worse yet, members of all three groups claim the addictive nature of the platform has resulted in negative effects on their mental health. For Gen Z, almost a quarter say that they've felt this impact, with the effects being more severe for millennials. 37.3% say using TikTok has led to mental health issues. Now we start to see how TikTok has insidiously wrapped its tendrils around the collective American psyche. It's the slot machine of social media, constantly serving up dopamine hits to keep its users active on the platform, and crucially, ByteDance monetizable. But that's far from the only way TikTok chips away at American society. Remember that this is a Chinese app, and one from a company that has gone out of its way to pander to China's ruling party. It's also an app that has well over 1 billion users, 100 to 120 million of whom live in the US. That's over 120 million people delivering a constant stream of data to ByteDance related to their preferences, the types of videos that appeal to them, and their usage of the app. Plus, it's over 120 million people offering up personal data just so they can use TikTok. All of that data is valuable to the Chinese government. Furthermore, as CNN reported in June 2023, China isn't above snooping around on TikTok to collect data about its users. That was confirmed by a former ByteDance employee named Yintao Yu, who claims that the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, used backdoor access into TikTok to mine data about users related to the 2018 pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. Of course, the CCP denies doing so, but Yu claims that he's seen access logs attributed to a special CCP committee that also has physical access to ByteDance's offices. The God credential, as he calls it. The point is, there is precedent for China using TikTok to learn more about people, and that means there's potential for major security breaches along with CCP-led manipulation of TikTok users in the US. But by now you're probably asking a question: what does this have to do with geopolitics? China 2049. President Xi Jinping's initiative to build a modern socialist country that is prosperous, strong, democratic, culturally advanced, and harmonious may, like TikTok, seem harmless on the surface. It could even be considered a set of admirable goals for a world leader. But like TikTok, there's hidden intent behind China 2049, with the plan ultimately being to establish China as the world's leading economic superpower by that year. TikTok plays a role in that plan. Not only is it a massive revenue driver for the CCP, but TikTok's addictiveness means it now holds a certain power over the younger generations of the United States. That power can be manipulated in many ways, including encouraging TikTok users to hand over more and more of their data for access. More nefarious means could see TikTok serving American users videos that further split a nation that over 80% of citizens already feel is more divided than united. Now check out China's humiliation, why invasion of Taiwan is now impossible, or watch this instead.